Hey guys, I'm going to give you 5 strategies today to build executive function skills with your children. These will also reduce power struggles and overwhelm and also help to scaffold them towards independence. So the first one is to let them teach it back. Anything that you can ask them to teach you, whether it's verbally or they can draw it out on how to do something or even act it out, can do two things. It will reveal their understanding and comprehension, but it will also reveal the gaps in their comprehension. So I'll give you an example. I had a child that I was working with, and we were working on organizing and planning. And so these are executive function skills that some of our kids struggle with. So instead of jumping right into it and saying and asking him to organize his backpack, we took a step back and actually made a list of the steps to do so. And so this showed what he was, the future thinking, what he knew he would need to do, but it also revealed steps that he was missing. So the very first step was one that he was missing, which is take everything out of your backpack first. Otherwise, you're just having to work around a lot of uh, loose paper, and it would just be not as quite as efficient. And so once we did that, he was able to go back and revise the list, and now we had a rubric to go back to, and something that was visual and concrete that we just laminated and said each time we're going to organize your backpack, here's the list of the steps. And so this did two things. It taught him the skills more explicitly, and then it also gave him something concrete to refer back to for the next time he organizes his backpack. And then number two is scaffold the skill by thinking out loud. So something that I work on a lot with kids is planning ahead. So to do this, I model my own planning ahead, and we do this by living out loud or thinking out loud by using declarative language. We are stating what needs to be done and noticing through our language what we foresee needs to be done to accomplish a goal. So here's an example. Around my own kids, I'll say, I have a report due today, so I'm going to set aside some time to sit down in a quiet area and so I can have time to focus on my report. If I need a break, I'm going to go and get some water and come back. So I'm modeling how I'm going to set up my environment, how I'm going to take care of sensory needs or maybe interoception needs of being thirsty, or even just giving my body a movement break of standing up to go get something. So these are all very simple and very explicit, specific ideas that I'm offering to them so that they can also learn to do the same. So how does this work? It makes invisible thinking visible. So when we're processing out loud, we're making these processes of thinking ahead, uh, problem solving, planning, we're making all that tangible and concrete for our kids. So it builds awareness around prioritizing what needs to be done and then organizing the steps to get that done. And then number three, collaborate problem solving over correction. And this is hard for a lot of parents. We are very quick to jump in and correct or tell our kids what to do and how to do it. But when we do this, we can shortcut the thinking involved and letting them, first of all, have awareness of what needs to be done and also building those problem solving skills. So I encourage parents to pause and reflect with them instead of at them. Something, for example, uh, a parent recently shared with me that that her son on his first day of school had an issue with another peer who was making a lot of noise, and he became reactive and hit the child. And so this parent did a great job of pausing and reflecting with her son after this was all done at the end of the day when she heard the news or got the report. And she really got curious with him and asked him, how that led up to him hitting. And it turns out that her son was very overstimulated and overwhelmed by the constant noise that this other peer was making. And he had, in fact, asked a couple of times to quiet down, and the student did not. And so that's when he hit him. And so just taking the time to collaborate by first getting curious to what led up to that behavior gave her the ability to reflect with him on what could be done differently next time. And so they sat down together and problem solve other ways. For example, raising his hand to get the teacher's attention or moving away, even plugging up his ear until his teacher can come to help him. That's short term can be the most effective thing before reacting by hitting the other student. So what this does is it builds metacognition, in other words, self-awareness. It also builds trust when there's an adult that will collaborate with a child to help support him versus punishing or demanding another behavior. It also fosters emotional and safety and then self-awareness as well, so that next time he goes into the classroom, he can anticipate there may be noises that bother him, and then feeling empowered to choose alternative ways to cope with that, and also to self-advocate. And then number four, anchor hard task with either easy task or with their strengths, the child's inherent strengths first. So start with a preferred strength. I have a lot of kids who'd love to doodle, draw, or talk before transitioning to a challenging task. For example, a school assignment or homework. And so it's something like even asking the child to just sketch out your idea. Let's just see what comes out. And then we can turn that into a few sentences. Or even choosing an easier alternative to sitting down to write. You might ask the child, your child, to record your thoughts on a voice note first, and then we can dictate it and write it down. So all of these are just small steps to a more challenging task. For example, writing, which is difficult for many of our kids. So what this does is it reduces resistance, it builds confidence, and then it helps to build momentum. So once that task is initiated, a lot of times the child is more feels more capable of continuing. But of course, that comes with scaffolding and support. And then lastly, reflect with a list. This it goes back to the collaboration and problem solving piece. When your child is faced with a challenge, sit down with your child and encourage them to make a list, a side by side, a two list here. One of what happened, and then the other is alternatives to what they could try next time. So, just like that example earlier of the child getting upset with his peer and hitting, the alternatives next time might be proactively to plan ahead and bring headphones or those ear loops. That you can just plug into your ear, even a hand signal to the teacher of, "Hey, I've got to go to my um, chill down zone right away." But just having these strategies, these alternatives in place preemptively will really help to mitigate those situations where the child may be uncomfortable, whether it's sensory wise or there's a social conflict. And why this works is it builds accountability for the child. You're helping your child plan ahead with problem solving to anticipate possible challenges, and it empowers them to self advocate as well. So those are the 5 strategies I have for you guys. I'll go over them one more time. First one, list them back, teach them back. Number 2, scaffold by thinking aloud. Number 3, collaborative problem solving over correction. Number 4, anchor the hard task with the easier or a strength-based task first. And then 5, reflect with a list with your child. So those aren't just strategies, as you can see, they're all anchored in connection, co-regulation, and skill building. All of that involves you as the parent to scaffold this, and over time, with consistency and repetition, your child will become more independent in these skills. I hope that helps.